With a knockout shot.
Treat me right now.
Lamar Jackson is a great player. He's fired up to play. That's the Lamar that I'm looking forward to seeing. Can't wait to get back on the grass and go to work, and I'm confident that's going to happen. For me, my perspective, I'm getting ready for Lamar. You build your team regardless. I mean, we're building our team all the time in all the different areas that you got to build it. And I know, and that train is moving, man. The train is moving fast. But here's the thing. When Lamar gets back on board that train, he's fully capable of jumping on full speed. You prepare for all contingencies, but you build a great offense for your players, right? I mean, that's what you do. And Lamar's under contract, and that's the guy that's the guy I want to see be our quarterback. That's my guy.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook is live here on Bettor Sports Network. Welcome to another week. My name is Justin Fensterman. His name is Adam Ronis. We are powered by FantasyAlarm.com. For the next couple of hours, it's going to be plays, it's going to be news, it's going to be debate, and a lot of fun. Hang with us here in the comments section. Also on Twitter at Bettor Network here. And Roan, as we welcome in another week here, of course, to everybody who's hanging with us. And I'm talking about the millions
and millions
of Bettor fans out there ready for another week of plays and domination. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right. Busy weekend. Baseball's about to start. A lot of roster decisions being made. Guys that we thought would make the team. Guys that we didn't think would make the team making it. So, yeah, it's a wild ride here as baseball's set to start, believe it or not, on Thursday.
And we're going to get to some baseball, but first, let's steer the conversation into what you heard in our open just a minute ago, and that was Coach John Harbaugh talking about Lamar Jackson. Just another small chapter that we can now begin to read and hopefully write about here and give you as much information as humanly possible, because to no surprise, Lamar Jackson, apparently it's not his first time doing it, demanded a trade, or requested rather, a trade from the Baltimore Ravens here. And of course, we start to think, what team can use a quarterback right now? Will Lamar Jackson and the Ravens figure things out already? Can we move on with our lives in football as we're dealing with two major stories involving quarterbacks? And when it comes to the football world, everything seems stopped. Luckily, we got the draft coming up here in about a month, so that will steer the attention away for a little bit. But I feel like, man, we're in quicksand between the Aaron Rodgers saga. Now Lamar Jackson here requested a trade. Roan, I wrote down a list of teams here that I think could potentially use another quarterback or try to trade for him, man, because the list that I'm looking at right now, even though I read that one of the teams is not remotely interested for some reason, I'm reading about 10 teams that I think Jackson can fit on at this point. What do you think, man? Are we wasting our time? All this drama, every single report, every single comment. Of course, before Harbaugh talks, this comes out, or Lamar says this. Like, are we wasting our time and this guy's going to be back in Baltimore?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, we've heard a lot already. We've heard a lot of teams that said they were out on him. So, I mean, this could be Lamar Jackson putting more pressure on Baltimore. He obviously wants to get paid, and I don't blame him at all when he sees the contracts that some other quarterbacks got. So, especially Deshaun Watson and that ridiculous amount of money he got, Lamar Jackson wants to get paid. So I can't blame him. And, we'll see. I mean, I just get it done. I'm kind of sick of the headlines, and just make a decision, figure it out, and let's move on.
Yeah, I wish we can move on at this point, but we all know that when it comes to football, what sport catches the most eyes, what sport catches the most ears, even during the offseason right now, even before the draft. So the teams that I listed here, and I guess you can take the Commanders off, because it kind of surprises me that the Commanders aren't interested at all. You kind of have between selling the team, you want to turn over a new leaf here. I mean, I'm shocked that the Commanders right down the road from Baltimore haven't really shown interest. And any time it seems that they're asked about any one of the coaching staff, they continue to say that they're not interested. So I guess you could take them off the list and believe what they're saying at face value. The Jets at this point, it seems like they're in rock steady line with getting Aaron Rodgers here, unless they somehow find a way to screw that up over the next few months. So I guess you could put them aside here. You would think the Panthers, with the trade that they made, they're going to commit to going quarterback in the draft. Would be pretty surprised not to. But then that leaves some other teams here, Roan. That leaves teams like the Falcons, the Rams, the Colts, the Bucks and the Titans, even Houston as well, and New England, man. Any of those teams that I just listed stand out to you at all?
I mean, I just don't think there's a lot of options for him right now. I think he's probably going to wind up back in Baltimore at this point because you have to give up a lot to get him. And we've already heard multiple teams say that they were out. They could be lying, but I mean, I guess you could look at the Colts, right? They have the number 4 pick,
right?
So I guess they would be in play. You mentioned New England, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does Belichick want him? That's the other thing too, is you got to change your offense with him there.
True.
So
that is true.
There's a lot that goes into this.
Yeah, there is. And it's very confusing right now. And we just really don't have any good leads. You would think that the asking price at some point would start to drop a little bit, and the Colts were the first team that came to mind for me. Then I started to wonder, well, let's see. Let's look in other divisions as well and see maybe they won't trade him to certain. But then I said at some point, the Ravens, if they're at an impasse, that value of the stock is going to drop even further, and one of these other teams should go in. If, for instance, maybe I don't know, but if I'm Atlanta, and from what we've seen from Desmond Ridder, I mean, on one school of thought, you're like, he needs reps. Let's see what he can do after getting pummeled for another year, let's just say. But if I'm Atlanta, I feel like I'm on the phone with this guy right now, trying to figure things out, trying to get him. So that's one of the teams where I feel like they need to rush the Commanders. And I've been saying this for a while. For some reason, they are going to stick with Sam Howell, I think, when all is said and done. Everything I continue to read down there, the dots are right there. The line is right there, the direct path. Riverboat Ron wants to try with Howell and everything. And that's going to be something that we're going to continue to see become more of a reality over the summer, unless they change course immediately. But at this point, Roan, you're still thinking that it's a potential that he could end up back in Baltimore. Me too here. So did we just waste the last 5 minutes? I don't think so. A few of you commented on it. Red Rum trying to be a funny guy, saying that the Jets just traded for Lamar Jackson. Imagine that after all that with the Aaron Rodgers thing. And I wonder, by the way, Jets fans out there, I know there are about 10 of you left remaining in Jets Nation, but I think 2 of them are even on this show. Who would you rather have at this point? You got a set defense there. You got some pass catchers. Would you rather have Aaron Rodgers, or would you rather have Lamar Jackson? Aaron Rodgers been to the mountaintop before. He's got some pass catchers. Or Lamar Jackson, you have him run an awful lot. Hope that he can stay healthy. That's something that I think Jets fans right there can't just say immediately one or the other. Ron, do you think that it's such a different decision here? But instead of giving you that answer right now, Ron, because you're going to choose your destiny regarding this exact decision a little bit later on as we talk with Ronas every single week. Give him some options. Let him choose which path we are going at this point here. Rome, before we talk about fantasy baseball, I mean, I had my main draft last night. Couldn't wait to run my team by you, or maybe you'll hate it, and then you'll just be hitting it like a piñata the entire time. We got to give the Playbook's first plays of the day. First plays here, the NBA becoming more and more confusing. Who's in, who's out. I mean, we really didn't know officially until a couple hours ago that the main Blazers scorers are going to be out once again. And it's looking, we're just waiting on some news that they're done for the rest of the year, but we're not getting that still. We're going game by game. Roan, what is your first play of the day?
Actually, I wanted to see something on Portland, but when I checked earlier, there was no props on them. Now I see it's out. Okay, but I will not go there. I will go Tobias Harris over 15.5 points. Joel Embiid is out tonight for the big matchup against Denver. And Tobias Harris has gone over this number in 11 of the last 12 games that Joel Embiid has been out. So he averages 19.5 points per 36 minutes when Embiid is not on the floor. So I'll take Tobias Harris.
There we go. I like that very much. We've seen it before. We've seen a direct correlation with him being more involved in the offense there. I like that. For me, choosing between a few, I'm going to go with Jonas Valanciunas over 27.5 points plus rebounds. He has been crushing lately. Now, why do you think the line's this low? Maybe a possible blowout factor? Maybe, but I'm still going to put the wager on it until recently he played a 28-minute game and went over 27.5 on the points and rebounds. He's grabbing a lot of rebounds. He's scoring a lot of points. We've seen it now in 5 straight games, him doing that. Now tonight, him going up against Portland. What front court do they have? Trendon Watford isn't going to play. Yusuf Nurkic isn't going to play. It's all him against Drew Eubanks. Give me the over on 27.5 points, rebounds. Give Ronis that over on the Tobias Harris points as well for our Playbook's first plays of the day. Man, Ronan, let me tell you, I've been asking and answering questions regarding the waiver wire all day long, and this is why you ended your fantasy basketball league when you did. Because now, I don't know, people are asking me for injury updates on Detroit Pistons players. How am I supposed to know? I'm not the team doctor. Do you realize that? I'm getting asked over and over again about guys like Isaiah Livers and Rodney McGruder.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a mess right now. It's late in the season. We know this happens. I didn't notice this. So on Yahoo, the lineup block is not till 7. I just dropped a player trying to set my weekly lineup, and it still has the player I dropped in my weekly lineup. Is there I thought it was tip-off for a lineup block.
It is.
Okay, so then why do I still have the player on my roster for this week?
I have no idea unless did you miss the deadline to be able to make moves for the week?
What
it reflects it for next week?
But you can make moves anytime.
Okay, then that's weird.
And
I don't know why.
You set your lineup for the week lineup block. It didn't lock yet. There were no afternoon games.
Interesting.
I don't get this.
Yeah, I don't get that either. You might want to hit the refresh button.
It doesn't matter because I'm not going to win this league anyway. It's Roto. But now Karl Anthony Towns is in my IL spot, and I can't get him out. I know he's out tonight, but I would have put him in for the week, and now I can't.
He is out. Dude, I don't think he's responding fully to being back on the court. It's been a little sore. We haven't known.
He hasn't played in 3 months.
That's true. So that's something to consider here. He's pretty sore. So I'm wondering if they're going to be very careful with him and keep his minutes monitored when they do play him. Like you said, he's going to be out tonight. It seems like half the NBA world is out tonight as well, Roan. But let's talk about my fantasy baseball team because we are going to complete our team previews. The Dodgers, the final team to preview. But if you go to fantasyalarm.com and go to the MLB section, you will find a free draft guide available. Don't have an account? Well, guess what? That's free as well. So make a free account, get your free draft guide, and especially free cheat sheet as well from a bunch of our staff, including Adam Ronis over here, Howard Bender in on it as well. We've brought some of the other writers of the draft guide, which again is for free. We brought on Colby Conway, thought about maybe bringing him on this week one more time here. But Roan, I actually ended up using your rankings, not verbatim, but I had them. I had them at a view right there on my other laptop here because I wanted to see what you would think if I made certain decisions with this squad. So how do you want me to do this? Do you want to ask me questions or do you want me to just read down my roster and then you can tell me what you think?
Yeah, read down this garbage team.
Okay. You want the pitchers first or you want the hitters?
Pitchers.
Okay, so this is a keeper league. Justin Verlander was my keeper.
You know how old he is, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It was for a 6th round pick.
I know.
So I thought that was okay. Then I got, and something else I should tell you, this league is a solds league, the save plus holds. So that's something else to consider as well. So my starters in this league are Justin Verlander, Drew Rasmussen, George Kirby, Blake Snell, Lance Lynn, Joe Ryan, and John Gray.
That's pretty good.
Nice. I'm glad. I was one pick away from Christian Javier, and he got sniped for me. And I would have taken him over Might have been Snell or Kirby. I was debating him between, but I would have taken.
It's an easy call to take him over those guys.
Yeah, no, I was 1,000% going in on him, and then pick before he gets sniped. My relievers are Kenley Jansen, Jose Leclerc, Michael Fulmer, who you had ranked higher than a lot of other people, I just want to say. And this is why, by the way, you get to your draft room early, because then you got to mess with the queue. This guy's way down the ESPN queue, and I made sure I was there early so I could make my own queue and not just rely on their default rankings in the moment on a 50-second clock. So I got Michael Fulmer, and then, so Jansen, Leclerc, Fulmer, and then I got Alex Lang as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fulmer is going to close for them. I know they've mentioned that he and Brad Boxberger are in the mix, but I think Fulmer gets the job. That's why I pushed him up. Alex Lang, he probably has the job to start, but it's kind of dicey. He was having real trouble throwing strikes in the spring. He had a 51% first strike percentage. That is just absolutely embarrassing. That's not going to get it done. So I did draft him, I think, in 1 or 2 leagues. I'm hoping that he can keep the job, but he's someone to keep an eye on. He can get a lot of swings and misses, but if you're going to put runners on base like that via the walk, you're just not going to keep your job very long. So, Fulmer was a guy that was available. Actually, I think it was Fab and Labor, because remember, we did that draft early March, so
right,
he kind of really wasn't in the mix then, or we didn't know what was going on. But
hasn't he been like perfect this spring?
He's been pretty good. I'm trying to see, because he went for $9 last night. David Robertson went for 17 in Labor Fab. I wound up getting Clark Schmidt for $4. Minter only went for 2. That's not a bad. And Robertson went to Ariel Cohen, who had Diaz. So I had the same thing, TGFBI. And, sometimes I've said this numerous times, when it comes to Fab, man, it is so difficult trying to explain it to people and giving people numbers, because the leagues vary so much. I saw leagues where 12-team online championship leagues where David Robertson went for, $300 or more. And then in my TGFBI league where I had Diaz, originally my bid was 144 and I upped it to 168. Kind of wish I didn't up it because I wasted a little more money, but you know what? I got him for 168. The runner-up was 113.
But you didn't know that going in, though.
I know, but that's what makes it tough. And then I picked up Scotty McGuff at $24. The runner-up was 21, so that one worked out well. But yeah, I mean, the bids vary so much. I mean, so you just want to look at your league history and see. So yeah, Fulmer went for 9. Bruce Starr Gratterall went for 17. I have Evan Phillips. I think a lot of the reports are kind of indicating that it could be Gratterall with Daniel Hudson banged up. But again, these are situations you're going to have to rely on. So, yeah, I mean, last night was a really important Fab bidding because if you had an early draft. And some haven't opened up. I know Tout Wars is Wednesday night. If you just drafted last night. I mean, if you drafted last night, though, a lot of the things we knew you probably addressed during the draft. Sure. But yeah, it's just, closers are going to be something that we look at across the waiver wire a lot. So yeah, I pushed Fulmer up my rankings because I think he's going to close.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. And I'm like, wow, you've got him a lot higher and stuff. And then I started searching some news because I wasn't on the clock for a while. So you might be onto something, man. Dude, this is what you did with a few players last year. That helped me get ahead of the game a little bit. So Fulmer could be that guy once again. I actually placed second in this league. And by the way, let me ask you about the hitters now. Very quickly, I got Dalton Varsho, Christian Walker, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley was a keeper, Trey Turner was a keeper, Aaron Judge was a keeper, Taylor Ward, Brian Reynolds, Andrew Vaughn, Alec Boehm, Thairo Estrada, Ryan McMahon, Alex Verdugo, and Jonathan India.
Yeah, India I don't have anywhere this year, and I kind of was hoping to get him in my auction. It didn't work out because he's had a good spring. He's healthy again. He could run. So that could work out pretty well. I don't love Verdugo. I mean, I have to put him in a certain spot to ranking, but I never draft him. Like, he's just not an exciting fantasy player. He doesn't really do anything great. They've been talking about him for years. He came over in the Mookie Betts deal, but he just has not. He's not an exciting player at all. Like, there's
Any
nothing.
shot at 20 to 25 homers for him this
I
year.
don't see it. The guy's never hit more than 13.
That's what I was wondering. And
he had 11 home runs last year. I mean, okay, his batting average is good. Okay, great. 280 last year, 289 the year before, 286 in the career. Great. Never hit more than 13 home runs. Last year in 152 games, 75 runs, 74 RBIs, 1 steal. I mean, there's just I guess he plays every day if you want to look at something positive. I never wound up drafting him. And the problem is you can't like bury him in the rankings because, again, he is a guy that has an everyday job. But you know this. You do basketball rankings. There's certain times like you can't just push a guy all the way down. But there are certain guys that in my rankings I'm like, yeah, I'm not drafting this guy.
I thought about it with the Park as well too, and that's what I debated. Can this guy hit 20 home runs? So that's what I was thinking. But also at this point, and we'll have to see how the rest of my outfield performs. But this guy, I guess at this point, would be the undisputed first cut if things don't start off right after the first.
I mean, I don't know if you cut him, but yeah, I don't think you cut. Damn, I was the runner-up on Fulmer. I just see I had $4. The winner was $9.
Oh,
it's always good to look at the runner-up bids. I tied for Clark Schmidt, so I won the tiebreaker.
At this point here, so that's my team. So what do you think overall? Can you tell that I used your rankings a little bit on fantasyalarm.com?
Well, I mean, you have Alec Boehm. I think I have him higher than the rankings too. That's a guy I have in a lot of leagues, so I think he could have a nice breakout year this year.
I feel like you have Taylor Ward a little bit higher than a lot of people.
Yeah. I don't have him in as many leagues either, I don't believe. I know I have him in Tout. I didn't get him in my home league, man. I hate my home league, bro. Like, these guys, man, they listen to me too much. They were like, yeah, we listen to the podcast. They all say how good a player you are. I'm like, come on, man. Stop listening.
Most of the league has, for my home basketball, has like the auction grid I put together every year. And it's an auction league.
Wait, is that the same auction? I mean, I know my league's not an auction, but is that the same grid you use for my league?
No. Why would I use the auction grid?
I said my league's not an auction league, right. But
yeah.
You could still use the similar rankings.
I can use the cheat sheet for it, but no, I have a different top 300. I have a different strategy for your league. I draft injured players that I know are going to miss the first few weeks of the year in your league because I'm so bright. I draft those players. And then guess what? For some stupid reason, and I can't tell why, maybe it's because I draft injured players in one of my first 3 rounds every single year I'm in this league. Okay. I actually don't make the playoffs. That might surprise you.
Here's the thing, okay? I know it's a different sport, but you cannot say, well, this guy got hurt, that's why I didn't do well. I mean, if that's the case, should I just give up now in my leagues where I have Edwin Diaz, Jose Altuve, and Rhys Hoskins?
No.
Should I just give up?
No.
Okay.
I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm just saying that I've made similar mistakes all 3 years, and that's one of the big things is that I'm fighting an injury. I'm not saying that's the overall excuse, and I'll literally go to the grave saying my team this year in this league was not bad.
So I can't. So all right. So next year you will not take an injured player in rounds 1, 2, or 3. Then you will take Zion Williamson in round 4, right?
Will he be there in round 4 in our league? Probably not.
Yeah, I think next year, yeah.
Dude, you know how it is. Everybody, you're going to have half the league that's going to be like, ooh, double, 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 double. They're going to be hearing how great see the workouts, and he's going to go as a 3rd round pick, and it's not going to be to me. It's not. I don't want, and he could be the MVP next year. I'm not going to have him on any of my teams. You would?
No, I didn't want to draft him this year either.
No.
Even though, I mean, look, you want to see him stay healthy.
Sure.
He's an exciting player to watch.
Forward in the league, of course.
But man, it's unbelievable. And all of a sudden now the Pelicans are playing better too.
Yeah, it's very strange, right? That's hey, leads
So
to.
I didn't even look at this. Oh wow, the West is insane. I mean, it's
crazy.
It's all two and a half game separation, but Dallas, bro, losing 2 games to the Hornets.
They look horrible.
I kind of hope they don't get in. You know what? Kyrie didn't help me this week, so forget about him.
They're boring as hell anyway. Who wants to see them play?
Oh, your guy Luka.
I know. I love Luka. The only time I don't like Luka is when he's out when I'm in the quarterfinals of my fantasy playoffs in a points league. That's when I don't like when Luka's out. Outside of that, I love the guy. Got me to the playoffs, but then boom, that thigh injury just like that. Final preview coming up, but not before reminding all of you that beginning at 7 Eastern, it's the XFL on Bettorcast. Watch the Houston Roughnecks versus the DC Defenders and compete in our real-time Q&A contest on the Bettor Sports Network app. Watch, play, and win prizes by answering predictive questions about the games while having fun chatting with our community in real time. Join us for Bettorcast on the Bettor Sports Network app tonight starting at 7 Eastern. You can win a $100 gift card to the bettorsports.com collectible shop to purchase authentic hand-signed items from your favorite athletes. Monday Night Rants will air on bettorsports.com. He's Ronas. I'm Fancy. One preview to go, and then we are finished, and that is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's talk Dodgers here. We're going west on Bettor Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network. Talk about your picks and your fantasy teams on Bettor Sports Network.
The importance of checking out the site that you're playing on. Default rankings of these sites. A lot of times they don't get updated. I know from experience. I used to write default rankings for the NFBKC, the basketball version of the NFBC. I'd write these default rankings in June for the NBA, before the NBA draft, before free agency opened up. And guess what? I was never asked to write an update article or update the default rankings. This happens a lot. Maybe if there's something obvious, it gets updated. Aaron Judge, for some reason, hurts his back. Maybe they make that change. Just maybe. But you don't know that. And that's why it's just so important that you show up to your draft room or you do that pre-draft prep. We're all busy. We know we're about to devote a lot of time to our fantasy baseball drafts. Why not spend the extra 20 to 25 minutes to invest properly in your team, to go and see which of those players are way down default rankings? They're going to be different on all of these sites, and you're going to be looking at them and going, maybe their analysts think a certain player who shouldn't be in the top 100, who should be maybe even not even the top 200, will be in that top 100. You got to check that out. You got to know where you're playing, just like you got to know your format when you sign up for the league. It's just so crucial, and people just skip right over it. You think it's cool to show up to the draft room 3 minutes before the draft. Well, number one, it's not cool because the commissioner's trying to make sure it is organized, especially me, who runs auctions. You can't, it's one thing if someone doesn't show up for the snake draft, oh well, doesn't ruin it for everyone. Auctions, you can't have someone not show up. Auto bidding, auto auctioning, it ruins the sanctity of those drafts here, which is why I always recommend, hey, make it easy on your commissioner. Don't make them send those texts there. It's annoying. You shouldn't have to do that. Don't wait till the last minute and get in there about 20, 25 minutes before so you can just look up and down the entire default rankings list so you can make a queue out of that, Ron. And the reason I keep saying this is because people still show up 2-3 minutes before the draft, and that's it. In fact, in one of my auctions, people were asking me where certain players were, and I go, did you search their name? No, I just got in. Well, that's no excuse right there. That's your own fault. I mean, you're organized, so you're a hard person to ask here.
You're getting those questions. This is your preschool league, right? People don't know how to search player names.
People freak out. They don't think. That's the problem. Because they show up 2 minutes before the draft. That's why.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
Willie Mays Hayes here. Play like Mays, I run like Hayes.
Preparations for the 2023 fantasy baseball season have begun, and the Playbook is taking a daily look at each team's hitting,
Straight ball, I hit it very much. Curveball. That's all, Fred.
And pitching.
Of course, if the umps are watching me close, I just rub a little jalapeno inside my nose, get it, run it.
You put snot on the ball?
Freeman hits this ball in the air to deep right field. Way back there and gone. Long gone for Freddie Freeman.
Spectrum Sportsnet on the call there. Freddie Freeman. For me, by the way, in the FSGA prop bets and futures drafts, please, Freddie, I got good odds on you for the most RBIs here in the National League. So let's get there right there. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers. We're talking about a bunch of lousy teams. This team is not that. You look at some of the odds there that we're seeing for the futures regarding the Dodgers, plus 850 to win the World Series. That's fourth out of any team. Plus 425 to win the NL. That's second. Minus 110 to win the NL West. Obviously, first, there are win lines at 95.5 plus 100 on the over, minus 120 on the under. Ron, when you think of this team overall, do you see them at least representing the National League in the World Series here in 2023?
I don't. They're not as good as they were in recent years. So why should we think that they're going to get there? There's definitely some question marks here. The offense is definitely not the same. I mean, right now they have David Peralta and Trace Thompson in their starting lineup. I do like Miguel Vargas, though. I think he's a guy that I was glad to get in a recent draft because I don't have much of him. He'll play some second base. So, yeah, I mean, the top of the lineup's still pretty good, but they lost Trey Turner. It's just not the team they were. I mean, Jason Hayward made this team. So
I noticed that.
Yeah, there's definitely some issues here, especially if injuries strike. I know they have some talent in the minor leagues for sure, but, I mean, yeah, Betts is fine. He'll be good. We know how great Freddie Freeman is. Will Smith, a catcher that's going to hit in the middle of the lineup. I do think Max Muncy bounces back. If you look over the last month and a half last year, he really performed well. I think that elbow issue was a problem for a lot of the year. He's always had good walk rates. He's definitely a guy that gets a boost in on-base percentage leagues because of his walks. So I think he's definitely a good bounce back. We know he has a lot of fly balls, ton of power, and it just felt like he was way better. So I took him some time as he was probably playing through like that bad elbow, and it definitely affected his numbers. He's got the multiple position eligibility in most leagues as well. But yeah, I mean, his second half was way better. His first half, he had 164, 230 in the second half. Just look at the averages by month. I mean, it was bad. 136, 164, 197, 147, 261, and 235 in September and October. So he had 12 home runs between August and September and October, after he only had 9 in the first 4 months. So it was clear that elbow was an issue. So he's a good bounce back candidate.
What about JD Martinez? You ever draft him? Was he ever part of your draft plan at all? I mean, how much pop can this guy bring just sitting there in your utility slot?
Yeah, he wasn't part of my plan, but in the FSGA draft where I represented Bettor Sports Network, which that draft was insane. So
Ronis did a great job, everybody, by the way, for all the Bettor fans that didn't catch the coverage in another radio galaxy. Ronis went on there and killed all the competition there verbally. Of course, they're not.
That means I have to win, right? You can't.
Well, you also said that too, but you painted yourself into that corner that you have to win. But no,
well, there was a lot of bad picks, but that team is really good. And that one, like JD Martinez was sitting there late. I said, okay, I'm going to take him. I mean, he's not the player that he was, but he's still only 35. And we know that the Dodgers typically make wise decisions, and they brought Martinez in. Yeah, I mean, the power fell off last year, but he could still hit. He had a 274 average. The strikeout rate and the walk rates were about the same. So there was nothing drastic from JD Martinez's game that tells me, oh, he's completely done. So, yeah, I mean, the only problem is in most leagues, I think he's only utility eligible. I don't if it's 20 games the previous year. And, he still had some decent numbers. The barrel percentage was really good. It was the 87th percentile. So, yeah, I mean, the hard hit rate did go down about 8%. So, yeah, we're not expecting, though, the top 3, top 4 round JD Martinez player that we saw a few years ago. But yeah, people are kind of just kind of dismissing him. So yeah, the utility part of it is it does hurt, but you're talking late in the draft, you can figure out a way to make that work. So yeah, I'm looking to see if he played. He didn't play any outfield last year. Is that right? Wow.
That's not gonna help get him the eligibility.
Yeah. Wow. I don't see one game in the outfield in 2022. That's right. I guess so. Okay. So yeah, utility only.
That's fun. What about Will Smith? You draft him anywhere?
No, just because of the price. I like him, but
he's in that top 4. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't like dipping into that catch area. I mean, I did in the auction for labor for Varsho, which wasn't a plan. But an everyday catcher that steals bases, plays in a good Toronto lineup. That's why I did it. But I typically go outside the top 6, top 7. I like the Wilson Contreras, William Contreras, MJ Melendez, Sean Murphy, that tier. That's really where I kind of like to get my first. So, yeah, that's the only reason why I don't have Will Smith is the cost. But you're gonna get power, decent average, and again, if it looks like he's gonna hit third, so if that's the spot he's gonna be in, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman in front of you, that's a nice spot to be in because Muncie's a lefty, so I don't see them putting Freeman and Muncie back to back. So I think it'll be Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncie, and JD Martinez probably 5th.
Wow, we'll see, man. We'll see if he can hit some more home runs there. Again, utility only for JD Martinez. Somebody else that I noticed that you had ranked a little bit higher than a few, Dustin May.
No, I actually don't. That's the complete opposite. I have him lower than most.
Really? I thought I saw him there a little bit more.
No. Maybe you didn't get I definitely lowered him, but Look, Dustin May is everyone's excited about Dustin May because they see these highlights of him. And certain pitches look great when look at that slider. Oh, look at that pitch. But Dustin May has never thrown more than 56 innings in the big leagues. He threw 30 innings last year. When he came back last year, the walks were high. And he can improve that. But I just don't see Dustin May living up to the expectations people have for him. Like, to me, he's more of a guy that we've seen, like, highlights and great pitches. But we really haven't seen him put it together yet. And we have very small samples to go off. Last year, we only had 30 innings. And so it's unfair to go, well, he was coming off an injury. The strikeout rate was only 22.8%. Walk rate was 11%. Fine. Okay. But then on the flip side, are you going to point to the 2021 where he pitched 23 innings? Again, that's not enough. No. And then the 56 innings in 2020, again, that was a weird season. He only had a 19.6% strikeout rate. For as hard as he throws and the highlights that we see with his pitches, he didn't get a lot of swings and misses. So he has a 23.9% strikeout rate in his career. Again, that's spanning 4 seasons. Good pitcher. I just think people have way too high expectations for him because I don't see the innings being there. And people are drafting him like we're going to get 150 out of him. I don't see it. You're looking at maybe 120 innings. He threw 30 last year. So now I'm lower on Dustin May than most people, and I don't have him on one team.
Man, I thought for some reason I thought him a little bit up there, but I was at first going page by page too, and that was confusing me because I forgot that when you were on the second page, and you change positions, it stays on the second page too. That was something I noticed, but then you increase it to 50 on a page, makes things a little bit more clear when you're looking at the guide. So what about the other starting pitchers on this team at this point? You have, Urias is obviously a stud. What about some of these other guys? What about maybe Gonsolin or Clayton Kershaw, Syndergaard? You have any of those guys on any of your teams? I don't.
Yeah, Gonsolin's going to start the year on the IL, so his price went down. I didn't buy the discount. Urias I don't have, but he's fine. Every year it was like, oh, the peripheral show, he can't keep this up, and he just keeps doing it. The guy just knows how to pitch, and he's on a good team. I don't have Kershaw. I'm fine with him. I think he'll be good when he's on the mound. I do have Syndergaard in a couple leagues, and I don't know if I should be worried about that or not. Again, the Dodgers just do a good job of bringing pitchers in and turning them around. So that's kind of why I went with Syndergaard. If he was on a different team, I probably wouldn't. But I took a shot late in a couple leagues. thinking that the Dodgers could find something in him. Ryan Pepio will be the 5th starter to begin the year. I like him. I did take him in a draft or two. And they have some good young arms in the minors, too, that we should see at some point this year. You know, though Gavin Stone had a pretty good spring. And I think at some point we'll see him this year. Bobby Miller, Michael Grove, those guys were kind of competing for the 5th spot. They didn't get it. I'm sure we're going to see them at points this year due to injuries. And their bullpen is still one that's up in the air.
You keep talking about Evan Phillips.
Yeah, I don't know. They might want to use him in a high leverage role, which means, you know, pitching in the 7th in a tough spot, 8th inning in a tough spot. He was really good last year, 1.14 ERA, a walk rate of 6.4%, 33% strikeout rate. So he was really good, but it seems like they might only because there was a report recently that he's expected to be utilized by the Dodgers in the most important situations. So that means he's probably not going to get every save opportunity. Maybe he does. I mean, you know, you got the bottom of the order coming up in the 8th. Maybe they go to Gratterall or Vesia and save Phillips for the top of the lineup. But then you might have a situation where 3, 4, 5s do up in the 8th, and they go, all right, Phillips, this is your spot. And then, you know, do they go Vesia if 2 lefties are coming up? Do they go Gratterall? So that's the thing. We know Daniel Hudson is a guy they kind of like, but he's on the IL to start the year. So, yeah, this is for a good team. Usually want the closer there. We just don't know exactly how that bullpen's going to pan out. I mean, I see a lot of people pushing Gratterall up. Like I said, in my labor league, he went for $17. I do have him in a league. I forgot. I was briefly looking at my lineups yesterday because some of the starting pitchers have been named. So I'm kind of last night as I was going through Fab, I was like, okay, am I set for pitching of the week? You know, because some teams have 4 games, some have 3. Some are not putting the guys you would think that belong in the top 3. So I was just kind of piecing my pitching together and trying to figure out who I have for the weekend. And I do have Gratterall in the league. I do have Phillips in the league as well. I was debating whether to drop Phillips in labor for like a Fulmer or Robertson. I elected not to because I didn't want to do that. And then Phillips gets 2 saves over the weekend. I'm like, damn, why'd I drop him? So, yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of closer situations that we're going to be watching Thursday, Friday, Saturday for that next Fab period for most leagues, which is Sunday. So, and we know people are going to unleash a lot of Fab. And I have no problem spending this first couple weeks of the season. Like I have a partner and we were talking and I'm like, yeah, I'm good spending $200 this past weekend because there were players out there. I don't think we did.
Is this the Ambos?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice
guy, by the way.
In our main event in online championship, I don't think we wound up spending $200 though. We didn't get the guys. Like I said, Robertson went for a pretty high price tag. But yeah, I mean, if you can get someone early in the season, that means you potentially have them for 6 months. So I know some people don't want to spend early on, but if there is a player out there that can contribute, I mean, geez, I didn't see what he went for, but Anthony Volpe was probably available in some drafts where if people were drafting late February, early March. I actually did draft him in an online championship league. That one I did a couple weeks ago. I actually have him. And I don't think it was that high a price tag. But, yeah, right now, Volpe is going to be going pretty high in any of your drafts, especially if you have a bunch of Yankee fans.
Oh, my God. I was in a draft with Yankee fans last night, man. You would think this guy's Derek Jeter already.
Yeah.
Seriously. And we had this one team that, I mean, maybe because he felt like, okay, I won the championship last year, so now I'm going to change my entire strategy. This guy is drafting nothing but rookies. And like early on in the draft, so it's not like it's a rookie keeper at the end of the draft. He's drafting guys. I mean, obviously Corbin Carroll's going in like the 3rd, 4th round in this type of league. You're in the 4th round here. But then he's drafting a bunch of other guys so early, ignoring the veteran pool, and it's almost like a joke. And so he has like all the rookies that you could think of. This guy's got on his team. And
well, a guy does that in my league, but not even the obvious rookies because he likes the trades. So he took Encarnacion Strand for like $3, $4. He's not even making the big league club, but this guy likes to stash all the prospects and then make trades. In fact, so everyone was laughing because in the auction, he gets done early. He sits there with like $15 for 15 players. He spent 52 on Ramirez, 43 on Trout, 48 on Betts, 18 on Clay Holmes, 17 on Doval, 17 on Arcel Iglesias, $12 on Scott Barlow, and then sat there.
That's it.
Just, yeah. And then just makes trades. And I feel like, is there like one guy in every league that just makes like 50 trades? You saw the guy in our hoops league. This guy,
they don't make 50.
Dude, this guy. Oh, today's not pissed. I got to remember. I got to say, when's pissed?
Right.
Wednesday, right?
Pissed is Wednesday.
Okay.
Yes.
I always forget. Dude, I probably mentioned this once before, but this one was infuriating, man. Like, you cannot make it up. But yeah, I wrote it down, but that paper is probably going to be in the garbage. But I have so many papers. I don't know how you are, because I like writing stuff. So I got papers.
Dude, I've got scrap paper.
Oh, so do I, man. Like,
and I use every side and every corner.
Me too. Look at this, bro. You can't even read it.
What's the point of wasting paper?
I agree, man. Trees, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You got to be nice to the trees.
Yeah, you care about being nice to the trees.
I do.
It's just convenient because there's a part of the paper that's open. By the way, Ambrose was in, this Metropolitan Fantasy Baseball League, and you know who the auctioneer was? Yeah, our buddy Lenny Melnick.
Yeah, your buddy. You guys are like best friends, right?
But no, are you not friends with him?
I'm friends with him, but I wouldn't say best friends. We haven't spoken in a while. I know you guys talk constantly on the phone.
I haven't spoken with him in a while.
Really?
No, not in a while, but like quick messages and stuff, man. It's like it's been a busy few weeks here. You know how it goes.
Yeah, what's going on? Any news?
Yeah, no news whatsoever.
Everything's good?
Everything is good, man.
Status quo?
Dude, hey, for now, you never know when the world around you can change, but status quo for now, man. By the way, Wookie asking us in the chat, for someone who doesn't have a lot of baseball knowledge, do you recommend Roto or head-to-head? It's a Yahoo League, can set lineups daily. Here's the problem, Wookie. You're going to get this split between me and Ronus, but I'm going to say this because, Ron, you're obviously going to go with Roto. For me, I'm going to also say Roto too. I like head-to-head better. I like the playoffs. But if you want to really test the realness of your team's strength throughout the whole year, if you want that kind of experience, then I'm not going to argue against Roto. I just like playoffs. Playoffs are fun. Sometimes in playoffs, things don't go as expected. So, yes, I guess you could say there's a little bit of luck involved. If you want the 100% real thing, though, you're going Roto. That's about as unbiasedly I could describe it, Ron.
No, I mean, he asked if you don't have a lot of baseball knowledge, which you recommend. And I would say in that head-to-head, because it's similar to football, and you could still do the weekly game and you could punt categories. So yeah, if someone doesn't have a lot of baseball knowledge, I think head-to-head is probably best for them.
Oh, I thought he was saying that because like he didn't know like the differences in the leagues and stuff like that. So I didn't even take what he had said into account when he said it. So
yeah, well, reading is a skill too that I guess you don't have.
Hey, I've got it.
Now I can throw you into my pissed on Wednesday too. Then
thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's pretty much the entire week anyway. So why waste the good segment?
I haven't really destroyed you.
I don't know if you noticed this, but like last Thursday, you paid me a couple of compliments there, and I thought you weren't feeling too well or something.
I wasn't. I was actually in the hospital that night.
Well, don't just say that. I know you weren't. It's not that funny when you say that. But God forbid. But at the same time, yeah, I appreciated that very much. I think I introed something. You're like, wow, that was good. You write that down 3 days ago? And I'm like, no, actually, just thought about it. So every so often, when you least expect it, boom, it's like an RKO out of nowhere. Compliment for Fensty when it comes to that. And by the way, Wookie's saying, I don't follow MLB as much as NFL, and go Suns. Of course, they'll crush me like the Zags did. Wookie, that was a lock. Gonzaga is one of the biggest letdown colleges in the history of college basketball. Have they had good players come along the way? Yes. They are the biggest underachieving team. And I got to say that their conference isn't that impressive anyway. And they've dominated the conference. And you know what? Anytime you pick them, except for the year no one picked them when they went to the national championship and lost there, they've always disappointed.
My champion's still alive.
Mine's not. Mine's done. Texas freaking up the entire game. But that's college basketball for you, and that's momentum. They ran out of gas, and here comes Miami. Yeah, honestly, I almost bet that game because I just thought when I'm going back and looking at Miami, it was either a testament to shut down defense or just pure luck that the previous 3 games that they played in the tournament, the other teams were shooting horribly from the field. And that's where I thought they got lucky because Texas was more of an inside team. They don't live and die like 75% of colleges by shooting threes. They get inside a little bit more, and I thought they'd have better shot opportunities. And for a while, it was looking great. And then, of course, 8 minutes later, in regulation, boom, they lose by 7 points, just like that. Just stupid plays at the end. Abandon your post play. Good calls on that. And by the way, with the other game and everything, with the foul that was called with 1 second to go, I get how a lot of people think if you're watching the game as a whole, that when a loose game is being run, then a pivotal foul being called with 1 second to go, I get people think shouldn't be allowed. The dude's left hand was on his body. You can't do that. And there was a little bit of force attached to that body. You can't do that. That's a foul. I'm sorry. No one likes games being decided by fouls. But that's just how it goes sometimes. And he got fouled. Stop looking at the ball. Look at his side. He was being grabbed. It was the right call.
Yeah, it was. And now I'm hoping UConn wins so I can get the winner right.
Dude, good call by you if UConn ends up winning. They're looking great right now.
Yeah, they were really good earlier in the year, and then they went through a struggle. But, yeah, I mean, look, we knew that this was going to be a wide-open tournament. In Florida Atlantic, man, goodness, man, because I covered this team in 2003, 2004. If you would have told me that this team would make it this far, I would have been like, hell no. Obviously, things have changed since then, but for that program to get to the Final Four is just insane, man.
Who was the coach of the basketball team when you were covering it?
Sidney Green.
Okay.
Former NBA player.
All right. Yes. So let me ask you this, because one of the things that really caught my attention about FAU was that back in the 2000s, I believe, might have been right before you covered them. And I forgot what this coach's name is. The coach of North Carolina in the 90s. He had slick back white hair. This guy also coached FAU too. I'm forgetting what his name was.
When, in the early 90s?
I want to say in the mid to late 90s, this guy was coaching UNC, and then he went to go coach FAU maybe 6-7 years after that. Could have been like 06, 07 when he was coaching there. He had slick back white hair. I forgot what his name is. I always forget because I used to actually, back when I was younger, I used to actually root on and watch North Carolina.
Oh, Matt Doherty, right?
Yes.
Actually, he was there after Sidney Green.
Okay.
So it was in the 90s.
No. What I said was he's at UNC in the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
And then he came there afterwards. And I thought, wow, if FAU can attract a coach like this who was just coaching one of the most popular colleges.
You know who else coached there? I forgot about this too.
Who?
Mike Jarvis.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Longtime St. John's coach.
Yeah.
Mike Jarvis. I liked Mike Jarvis. I one time met him at a random benefit I was at back in 2001 or 2002. Couldn't be a nicer guy. And I feel like all of the players, wait, he ruins AB. Come, please. Come here a second. Come on the air for a second if you can.
Hasn't St. John's been ruined for a long time?
Yeah, he was the one that ruined St. John's. I thought he brought validity to the program.
He was a nice guy and good in the media, and I'm sure he's a good coach, but he didn't like the quote-unquote attitude of New York ball players, so he didn't recruit them as heavily. And
that's true.
What?
That's true. I'm remembering this now.
And, you know, when you have one of the best talent pools in the country right in your backyard and you don't have much to offer besides, hey, we play a handful of games at Madison Square Garden every year, maybe you should just ignore that talent base and let the Pitts, the North Carolinas, and all these other schools of the world just raid New York.
Man,
Tell me when it's been relevant consistently since then.
Well, I'm trying to think. I mean, who was there in the? I mean, you had Ron Artest who was there.
I didn't cover them, but I interviewed Ron Artest at a charity game. And man, that was a wild. He was not well spoken then. I will say that.
So he was there. I'm trying to think who else was there. Khalid El-Amin was UConn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Man, I forget who some of the other St. Johnnies were.
Zendon Hamilton, Eric Barkley. LeVar Postel was a good player for them.
So LeVar Postel. So here's a funny story. LeVar Postel. So I got somehow access in 2001 to go to this preseason practice. I think it was something for season ticket holders. My dad got the tickets somehow to this event. And you know, Van Gundy was talking to everybody and everything. It was like a random. My dad took me out of school. We went to the Garden. We got to sit in like the second row. Van Gundy, Clyde, everyone was talking to us. They showed us the team a little bit, and then they showed us LeVar Postel, and he was doing all these moves. And man, was I fooled? I thought, did you think, Roan, that LeVar Postel was going to be something in the NBA? Because I saw his handles that rookie year. Even before in all those highlights and even watching him that day, I thought stupidly that he was going to be the premier point guard of the Knicks for years to come.
No, I didn't think so. I remember one of the best. I haven't attended many college basketball games, but one of the best games I attended was Duke St. John's at the Garden when Artest was there. It's a great game. I can't remember what year it was, but Artest was there. That was a really good game.
And the stupid Knicks pass up on getting him so they can draft Frederick Weiss from France, who never even came over to play. And then the next year in the Olympics, Vince Carter, who randomly had hair for the 2000 Olympics, something I'll never forget. Vince Carter bald his entire career, except for the 2000 Olympics, and he freaking dunked and posterized him. And it now is one of the most common and popular images when you see USA basketball. I still to this day cannot believe that this Knicks team passed up on Ron Artest, because when the Bulls got him, Ron Artest was good. He wasn't unhinged yet. He kind of got that way when he went to Indiana. You saw it was scrappy, though. You kind of saw it was going to be there. And then all of a sudden, Indiana, all bets were off. I just couldn't believe that the Knicks didn't draft this guy.
It's crazy. So FAU, when I was there, they went the Atlantic Sun. Then they went to the Sun Belt, and they went to Conference USA in 2003, 2014. I mean, and for them to go, I mean, this is only the second time they made the NCAA tournament. 2002, They were the 15th seed, and they haven't been back since. And now they're in the Final Four.
Have any NBA players of meaning come out of FAU?
I don't recall. They have had football. Devin Singletary went there. There's a couple others. Like I told you, when I was covering FAU football, when Schnellenberger was there, they were playing Northern Colorado in the playoffs. And I was like, who the hell is this big receiver on the side? He looks great. That guy's definitely an NFL prospect. It was Vincent Jackson. I was like, yeah. I'm like, he just looked. I was like, this guy looks so good, man. Who is this guy? And I was like, oh, Vincent Jackson. Cool. But FAU, man, this is a remarkable run. And I was told when I was that they were a pretty good team. You know, I didn't follow them that closely this year. They only have 3 losses too, man. So I'm sure there's some people who put some money down on them to win. Not a lot, but I'm sure there were some that said, hey, it's wide open this year. This FAU team is pretty good.
I'm sure for fun, someone who roots on FAU.
Oh, yeah.
A $5 bet in.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a $5 no risk DraftKings bet. For the
I didn't even look at their schedule in the regular season either. Like, did they play? Think about it. San Diego State or FAU is going to play for the college basketball championship.
Yeah, it's weird. But even Miami's never.
Miami's good. No, I've heard someone that I talked to that knows, and they told me all year, watch out for Miami. So also FAU beat Florida early this year. I mean, there's not a lot of. Didn't play a lot of big schools, but I mean, who's going to play them? UAB, they beat by 2. So yeah, I mean, but we I mean, look, you didn't need to follow college basketball closely. Everyone's saying this was a wide open year. There was no dominant team. I mean, How many different number ones did we have this year?
We had a lot, and then when we asked Servo and everything, he was really going against a lot of the number ones, and then we saw Fairleigh Dickinson take out Purdue while we were at – did someone say – because weren't you at that point, weren't you calling out the player names for NFBC at Dave & Buster's? Because I was on the air with Ray, I remember, during Ray Flowers during that time. So, that was just crazy.
Did you see the video of the Kansas State coach, Jerome Tang, going in the FAU locker room?
No.
It was really good. He was like, congratulations. He's like, you guys are the toughest team we played. You guys play together. Like, he was praising them. And, like, you don't see a lot of losing coaches do that.
Right.
It was a good video. I was like, you know what? I respect that. It was nice to see.
You don't see a lot of players do that in general. I remember one that's off the top of my head in sports was when the Pistons won their first title in '89 when they swept the Lakers. Magic Johnson went to their locker room and congratulated Isaiah Thomas. They were best friends, but he congratulated the team afterwards. That's one that I remember. I don't remember really any others at that point. But, man, Eric Barkley, God, remember him from back in the day. Another one thought he was going to be maybe a journeyman. Nope, wasn't even that. What about a New York guy didn't go to St. John's, but Sebastian Telfair, who you covered for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew, you know what? I don't know if it was his size because he was smaller, but he had the same handles as his cuz Marbury.
He was smaller though, man. I think he probably needed a year of college, but I understand why he didn't. He got guaranteed money. I think it was from Adidas, but then, I thought he was a good kid, but he's been in a lot of trouble with the law over the last, 5 to 6 years. I don't even know what's his latest. I haven't checked to see what happened, but
I haven't looked either.
Yeah.
I have not looked either.
Oh, he's in prison now? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a shame, man. I liked him. I thought he was a good kid, man.
I liked him too. I just feel with these like smaller guys like the Nate Robinsons and the Spud Webbs, if they're scrappy, they have a place in the league. But it's going to be a lot of patience and it's going to be a lot of games where you're playing 12 to 15 minutes max. And that's going to be hard. Who was else? Man, there was someone else who used to be on the Nets. He used to be on the Celtics. I forgot, man. I'll remember what this guy's name is when we go to the box break. But just other players where you see the offensive talent there, but then you start to see them fade when they don't develop further than that. It's just, I'm trying to think of who I'm thinking of right now. I forget. He's Adam Rodas. I'm Justin Fensterman. Not forgetting about that, though. Talking a little college basketball. Maybe we'll check in with Dan Servodidio one more time this week so we could get some Final Four calls and bets, of course. Let's talk about choosing your destiny. It's a rite of passage every Monday. For the most part, most Mondays, we do this. Let Adam Rodas choose his destiny. I got the options. What?
We got a boost.
Okay. So that'll be part of Ronas choosing his destiny. Will he choose?
That'll be part of the player props. Good tease.
Okay, well, thanks for ruining it, man. So
I didn't
choose
ruin
your
it.
destiny coming up on
You
the
can't
Playbook.
go away now.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
We're talking catchers. And Ray, as we jump into this position, traditionally, this has been a position that you kind of say, well, there's like 2-3 guys and the rest is just junk. And gosh, I'm in a 2-catcher league. How in the hell am I going to fill 2 spots, in this 12-man league? And it's such a struggle after the 8th catcher. Like, fair to say it's different now? I mean, I know it's not great, but it feels like the best catcher pool I've seen in a while, like at least a half decade in terms of, wow, we've got some hitters, we've got guys, and I know they're not exclusively catchers, and the DH is helping, certainly, but it looks like we're going, 10, 12 deep at least of feeling good about catchers, I think.
I tier the players at positions because I think that's a really good way to look at them. And when you tier players, you're basically putting guys that are likely to produce similar levels of production in the same tier. One guy might be batting average, one guy might be home runs, that kind of a thing, but basically the same end result value-wise. I have 2 guys on the elite tier. I then have 9 guys or 8 guys on the next tier, And then I go all the way to 22 on the third tier, which basically almost gets us to that, 2 catchers in the 24, 12-team league kind of thing. So I agree with you. And I think that even if you look beyond that, there's some names that are outside my top 20 that I could easily see being top 15 catchers this year. So yeah, it's not wow, but it's good overall. We got some young guys coming in that are dynamic players to help out some of the older guys that are still hanging on. It's better than it has been. I agree with you.
It's actually very young, Ray. And that, I mean, you look at Varsho, Rauschman, William Contreras, Kirk, Melendez, Cal Riley's semi-young, but Keibert Ruiz. And there's still other guys coming up that are in the minors right now. It's, we used to always say all these young catchers, just catch, don't worry about hitting. These are guys are coming up with some skill sets as well.
Yeah, and the game is different now, right? Back in the day, you were an old dude that had no athleticism. You're good at blocking balls, and we hoped you'd pop 15 home runs, right? That was kind of the MO. Now it's different. Now we get more athletic guys. It's not that, you have to be some dumpy, slow guy catching. You can be an athletic player that can play other positions, as you noted. So I think the youngsters are bringing more athleticism, kind of like the tight end position in football, right? It's like there is more athleticism at the tight end spot than there was 25 years ago. I think it's the same way at the catcher spot.
Make bets and follow your fantasy team while you buy, sell, and trade collectibles in real time. Only on Bettor Sports Network.
Choose your destiny.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Well, we thank you for choosing your destiny to be here with us on the Playbook on Bettor Sports Network on the BSN app. And you can update the BSN app to be sure you have all the new features we've developed to make your experience the best it could be. Update your Bettor Sports Network app today. Go to the App Store, and then you'll be able to update it when you click on the application. Ronis choosing his own destiny. I am giving the options here before we get into a little basketball, Ron. Very easy game. Let's see how you play it. Choose your ballpark destiny, Shea Stadium or Citi Field.
I got to go Citi Field, man. I love Shea Stadium. I have a lot of great memories there, but it wasn't like the best stadium from a lot of different perspectives. Citi Field is a really good ballpark. I know even Yankee fans like it better than Yankee Stadium. It's a great place to go. So I enjoy it, and I plan to be there April 9th for my first game on a Sunday. I don't have softball that day due to Easter, so I will be going to the game.
Nice. Man, I guess because I don't live in New York anymore, I had so many memories at Shea Stadium. I'm part of the it's a dump, but it's my dump type of deal. I love Shea Stadium. I love the views from Shea Stadium. And
is this the pine cone story again?
What's the pine cone story? What
Shea
does pine
Stadium
cone have to do with Shea Stadium?
Forget it. Go ahead.
Pine cone. I didn't know you were into nature, man. You've had pine cones at Shea Stadium before?
Nothing. Forget it. Go.
Okay, interesting. All right. From that, let's go to the next one. Quarterback for your team destiny. Pay off my tees, Ronis. Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, Lamar Jackson, but it's not as simple as that because you have to trade and give him compensation and everything. So, but yeah, I mean, Jackson's younger. We've seen him have some success. I mean, Rodgers could still be good in the right situation, and I think he could be with the Jets, but I'd take Lamar Jackson.
I'm still trying to figure out what the pine cone reference means, man. Yeah, I can't picture it, though. Instead, I'm going to ask you for a Mariners pitcher destiny. Logan Gilbert or George Kirby?
That's close. Kind of lean Kirby a little bit. Logan Gilbert last year, a lot of the underlying numbers weren't great. He allowed a lot of hard contact. He is working on a new slider, so maybe that will help him this year. But, Kirby was pretty impressive last year with the command. Didn't walk many guys. Solid strikeout rate. I could see him taking another step up. He's got to improve that whip. It was 1.21. It should be lower for a guy that had a 4.1% walk rate. So I lean Kirby here.
like I told you, and unfortunately, I didn't get this done. I really wanted to drive. I was going to double tap any of these rotations and not have to pay too hefty of a price tag. I was going to try to double tap the Mariners, but I was only able to get Kirby there. Unlike it seems like our producer, Tony Rivers, Anthony Rivera, a little bit more successful than I was getting two of the Mariners pitchers on his team for fantasy baseball. By the way, you can let us know in the comments section whether or not there are picks that you made that you now regret after thinking about it. And we'll talk about those picks as well, as we're both coming off of fantasy baseball drafts. A few more days left before it all begins. It's funny, by the way, I was actually listening to a conversation in another galaxy, in another radio galaxy, sports media galaxy, far, far away. I was actually listening to a conversation with Todd Zola and Clay Link. And I didn't realize that fantasy baseball industry drafts, back when they first began and everything, they would draft after the first few days of the season, which I guess if they're playing all roto, I never fully understood that. I mean, wouldn't you want to? And even in general, I know that some leagues for fantasy football too, they'll draft after week 1 or whatever. I never.
No, football usually after the Thursday night game. I know the high stakes leagues do. They're out in Vegas because I've seen it. I've been there, and usually after the Thursday night game, they have like a high dollar draft. I remember the year that Kareem Hunt had that monster game against the Patriots. I think he went 1 or 2 overall because you still get those stats. For baseball, you still have it. You'll still have drafts this weekend, more NL only league. So, I mean, in baseball, it's not as big a deal. I mean, okay, fine. You'll have 2 days of data maybe. I mean, you still got 160 games to go. It really doesn't change. It shouldn't alter anything that drastically unless it's like a closer. Like we find out for sure who the Dodgers closer is this weekend or the Diamondbacks. That's where you'll see the change. But I don't think it's as big a deal in baseball. And it could. I don't know what the reason is. And again, it still happens today. Especially with baseball starting on a Thursday, maybe people couldn't get the past couple weekends and they got this weekend instead.
How would you feel if Tout Wars was this weekend as opposed to a few weeks ago?
They'll never do it because they understand that people have their home leagues and big money leagues. Tout and Labor are more of like basically kind of giving people an idea of where players are going and kind of a model for those that maybe respect some of the analysts and they want to see what they do or just see the value of players. They'll never do it right at the start of the season. I mean, it's the same thing in the fantasy football industry leagues too.
Right. It's just the St. Patty's weekend in New York City, also the marathon too. I get that everybody's on a schedule. You've got NFBC in Vegas the following week. I understand that, but isn't there a way you can make it the week after Labor then? Is there a way that you can avoid having it St. Patty's weekend with the marathon? It didn't impact us because like the geniuses that we are and everything being right there in Times Square, we stayed right near. But so many times in the past when covering it, whether it was for Sirius XM or just being up there, getting stuck behind that marathon, man, it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, don't do it then. Don't get stuck behind.
No, that's right. That's why you got to show up to the event at 7:30 before everything begins and the streets get clogged, streets get closed down. Just a nightmare right there. What about Fantasy Rules Destiny, OBP or OPS?
I mean, OBP, that's more similar to average and a replacement, which I have used in my home league. Someone sent me their league rules. They use OBP and average. I don't understand that, but I'd rather use OBP instead of batting average.
Concert Destiny, Papoose.
I don't need to hear the rest. Papoose.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if it's an NWA reunion tour?
Yes, Papoose.
Okay. There's nobody that can usurp Papoose at all.
Very few.
What about, I guess, Ludacris or Papoose?
I guess maybe a Wu-Tang concert I'd have to think.
Right.
Because, Wu-Tang has a lot of members that I like. So it's like you're taking like 8 and putting them together. So
were you a fan of the RZA and the Jizza?
Yeah, but you'll never guess my favorite Wu-Tang member.
Ghostface Killer.
Nah, Ghost is up there. He's right near.
He came to my college one time. That's why I guessed him. Is it Inspect the Deck?
Yeah.
That's who it is?
Is my favorite, yep. No
Why?
one over there. Oh, Method Man. No. Old Dirty. No.
Dude, Old Dirty's the chalk answer.
I think Ghostface though is right there though. Like again, I like all of them. Like Ghost and Ray, that purple tape, like that will live forever.
Why Inspect the Deck?
His lyricism. I mean, if you think about it, two of their biggest hits, Cream, his verses on it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And he's got the first verse too in one of their top songs.
Shimmy Shimmy Ya.
No.
You don't
That's
like
not
that song?
That's not one of their top songs.
Really?
That is one of Wu-Tang's top songs? No.
I would think
Cream is one of their biggest hits.
Cream, I feel like, is their number one.
And Inspect the Deck is on that.
Yeah. I figured Shimmy Shimmy Ya was definitely top 5.
No.
Wow. I love that song. You don't like that song?
I like it. It's not one of the top songs.
Damn. I would have thought it was.
Protect Your Neck. Inspector's on that. Inspector's got some of the top verses, man. He just doesn't have like the following of a Meth or Ghost, because I guess his solo albums didn't produce to that level of those guys. But lyrically, he's one of the best in Wu-Tang.
And Redman was in Wu-Tang, right?
No, he was not.
Okay.
He just did he did a lot of records with Method Man. They have their own album. So, but he's not part of Wu-Tang.
Weren't they screwed over kind of like NWA by like their agent or whatever?
Well, almost anybody in the music industry.
Even the boy bands too, like NSYNC and stuff like that. Like everybody was screwed over.
Nas really didn't. I was watching something where MC Search from Third Base was the one who really backed Nas and made sure Nas never really got screwed out of any of that stuff.
Yeah. Even New Edition kind of got screwed a little bit. Man.
Yeah, pretty much everyone gets screwed by record because they're young, they don't know, they don't get it with
right.
the right
They're
people.
just happy to have the contract, but here's
they're
the problem.
signing things that
they blow up so quickly, and then the demand for them is up, but yet they're still stuck
because they're seeing big checks, which they haven't seen before, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is a lot," not realizing that they're not getting their full worth, and that other people are.
Right, man. I believe Chuck D years ago wrote a book about a lot of this stuff, but. Anyway, back to choose your destiny here. Hawks' future destiny leader, Atlanta Hawks, that is, Trae Young or DeJounte Murray? Who are you moving forward with?
Your destiny.
DeJounte Murray. Just because Trae Young is probably going to be gone.
That's what I'm wondering, too, if they'll have the cojones to get rid of Trae Young. Problem is, I feel like a lot of the kids there, I mean, I got nephews that are in Atlanta. And everybody there seems obsessed with Trae Young. So I feel like there's a market share that they got to take into consideration. But, I mean, I'm guessing they're going to move forward with DeJounte Murray. Just the big question is, they give him one more year to get his act together, or you trade him at his highest value right now, where you'll have 29 other teams looking to get him pretty much, except for, I don't even know. I mean, even teams with a point guard will still want Trae Young. So, is Trae Young, though, is he going to develop and be the new Kyrie Irving, the breaker of teams at this point? We'll have to wait and see. Next up here, flight seat destiny. Aisle, middle, or window?
The aisle, because I tend to pee a lot. So I don't want to be, stepping over people. Although the last flight I took was to West Palm Beach or Palm Beach. And I didn't go to the bathroom one time. So, and did I have coffee before that flight? No, I don't think I did. Or maybe I did. I can't remember.
I was going to say, why would you ever want to have coffee before?
Because I love coffee. I did have coffee on the flight home. I know that. Because
you ever get the little like shot bottles of alcohol ever on flights home?
No.
I don't really drink on the plane or anything like that. I don't do that.
But so that's why I want to sit on the aisle in case I have to go to the bathroom multiple times. And then, excuse me, it's a pain in the ass to ask people to get up and there's no room. So
You're not wrong about that. See, I'm a window guy because I like using the wall to sleep, rest my like little pillow that I have there.
Honestly, I don't care. I don't really care where I sit. It's just for the bathroom purposes.
All right, so let me ask you this then.
Because think about it now. If I'm at the window and my girl's to the left, it's easier to hide stuff.
That's true.
Good point.
There you go.
Because when the situation happened, I was sitting in the aisle.
I know. So someone got a nice little bird's eye view of you having fun on the plane.
Yeah.
No Mile High Club though for you, unfortunately. That does.
Oh, you haven't either.
I'm not saying I have.
Okay, so don't act like I didn't do something.
No,
that you
I am.
did.
I'm not acting like you didn't do something. It's that you didn't do something.
Neither did you.
Neither did I. That's
right.
fine.
So don't sit here and act.
I'm not acting. I'm speaking in truth.
You're putting me down for not performing a task.
Dude,
it feels
I'm
like
not putting you down. You're still having fun on the plane. Okay. You know, you're just not joining the Mile High Club. Good luck with that bathroom, by the way, not getting your foot stuck in the toilet. There, imagine your shoe comes off and flushes down. No, that will never happen. I'll tell you that much. By the way, when it comes to AB, it actually is like, why even put the middle? So that just inspired me to ask you this question. So let's say you're booking a flight for an event. It's just you. You could either get the aisle seat in, let's just say, row number 22 of a 28-row plane. Or, so you can have the aisle seat there, or you can have the middle seat in row 5 of the 28-row plane. What are you taking?
Row 5.
You are taking row 5.
I want to get the hell out of the plane.
I don't blame you.
And I usually wind up in the 20s. You know, I'm not flying first class. So
no. You're flying coach.
It's just annoying, man. And then people are just so dumb with stuff. It's annoying.
Right. And by the way, I have a rule. I know it's like when you're going on a plane, if you're going to bring something on the plane that has an odor or a specific smell or just a very heavy smell, just don't do it. Why do that? You can't.
I mean, you bring your butt on the plane, don't you?
I do, but I shower before my flight, so I'm very clean in that regard. That's a good question, though. A good question. Boring day out trip destiny: a museum or an aquarium?
Museum. The sex museum, to be specific.
Okay.
There we go. I never went either. They have one in New York City. I never went. I gotta go.
I'm a little bit shocked. You think going there, let's just say with a date or something, you think that would get you in the mood?
I mean, I'm always in the mood, so I don't need that to propel it, but sure, it definitely enhance it.
All I needed to hear, I'm always in the mood.
Yes.
That's that's where you would go. Man, instead of the aquarium. All right.
I mean, what kind of fetish do you have with animals at the aquarium?
I don't. This was your question.
You're the one who's picking.
You're testy today, man. You think I'm like coming after you? I'm not. I'm asking you questions.
You basically are interesting.
No, because it is interesting. I'm not your therapist or anything. Do I sound like it? Oh,
you're trying to be.
So you say sex museum. Does that mean you don't get enough of? Oh no, let's not.
No.
Let's not go there. Okay, we could have kids watching it. We could have your kids watching this.
Yeah, they might be out there.
They might be.
Hi, son.
Yes.
Hi, Daddy. Daddy.
Lamar Jackson. Destination Destiny. Patriots or the Rams?
Neither. But if I'm picking one, Patriots.
Okay. Next team to give up. By the way, I'm still shocked that Mac Jones is even in the conversation after the drama that we heard from last year. Like when he went to other coaches to get advice and Belichick found out about that, pretty much gave the whole like, you don't bring family business outside the family. Come on, man. Can you script the drama any more than that right there for Mac Jones? That was crazy. Some drama situations that we have surrounding the Patriots. That one is wild. Next team to give up on their season destiny in the NBA, the Utah Jazz or the Orlando Magic, meaning which of these two teams will we start seeing rule out players just for the sake of it? I would have said the Indiana Pacers in this, but as we're seeing by tonight, they're doing that tonight.
I wanted to play a Halliburton prop.
Well, guess what? Now you
down.
can't. Now, if
Yeah.
you want to play a prop, you're going to have to go either like McConnell or Nemhard. Good luck with that.
I think it's going to be the Jazz. I think they've wanted to, but that they're right there. They're a game and a half behind OKC, but we've seen Markkanen sit a couple of times. We got burned by Kelly Olynyk last week.
We did.
He had 7 rebounds, 3 assists. It was over 10.5. He played 22 minutes, and then they didn't bring him back. And I knew it. He came up. They only play him 6 minutes in the first quarter. I noticed that. I mean, some players do, but I don't know why they don't play him 8 or 9.
And Markkanen was out for this game.
I think so, yeah. Well, and
it's been every other game lately.
It was against Milwaukee because they got absolutely trounced. So He started the third quarter. He tends to play 6 minutes of the first and third quarter. And once he left, I'm like, oh, man, this is it. And to have 7 rebounds and 3 assists in 22 minutes, and the prop was over 10.5, I mean, come on, man. So I think it's the Jazz. Orlando seems to be playing pretty competitive down the stretch. They've won 3 in a row. Like, I feel like they want their young kids to play. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Utah.
I laid off the Cole Anthony prop as soon as Suggs was activated.
And he hit.
What? Right.
Didn't he hit yesterday?
Yeah, I mean he might have gotten there with the points and stuff. For a while, it wasn't looking good.
I thought
I didn't see what the line was. I didn't even want to play it.
Well, what was it? It had to have been similar to what you had. What were you getting? 18.5, 19.5?
Yes, 19.5.
Right. I thought, hold on. I'm pretty sure he went over it easy. He had 21 points and 6 rebounds. I knew it. Yeah, I was reading it. He played 31 minutes.
You understood why I laid off it, right?
Well, Suggs played 24.
Right.
Gary Harris only played 18. He started, and I guess he is where the minutes were deducted from.
Like, I can't give recommendations for Magic guards in a value video if the minutes are splitting up 5 different ways.
Yeah, the Magic to me don't seem to be. They just, again, you look at Boncaro, 29. Wagner, who was hurt, they easily could have said, hey, yeah, sit out. He got hurt in the previous game.
He played.
And he played.
Yeah.
So I don't really see the Magic. I mean, maybe the final week, but Utah wants to. It's just they're like, well, we're a game and a half out. Do we want this? But
Right.
Markkanen has sat 2 times recently.
Yeah, hand injury. I need him to play tonight, man. If Giannis is going to sit, I'm in the Rick Kamla, who is the host of Better Sports Live. He has his Cam Dynasty League. This is year 1 of that Dynasty League. And I'm actually in the finals in said Dynasty League. And now I don't have Giannis tonight. And I'm hoping to God that Markkanen can play. By the way, someone that I actually just picked up on the waiver wire that all of you should consider as we're talking about Cole Anthony off the bench. Kobe White. Have you seen what Kobe White has been doing? He's been shooting better. He's been taking more shots. He's been producing in other areas as well. Full slate for the Chicago Bulls. I have a piece up at fantasyalarm.com that gives you 7 players, 6 of them with 4 games for their slate for the week that you could look to pick up right now.
I'm just glad. I'm glad my season's over, man. The one thing about the NBA with all these players sitting, it's a pain. I mean, I had a dealt with it in mind. Tatum sat yesterday. I mean, it's so annoying, man. You got to end your season earlier, man.
Dude, I mean, how much earlier can we end it?
Like we did this. I ended mine this past week. I think that's about right. And you're still going to get stuck with guys out, but I mean, the season ends. Wait, there's 2 weeks left, right?
Dude, this is the second to last week.
Yeah, nah, you can't have your playoffs go second to last week, man. You just can't. It's just too many guys sitting.
Well, let me just tell you,
we deal with it all season, but it's more drastic now. Look, I get why Milwaukee's doing it. They're playing the Pistons tonight. Why do you need Giannis to go out there and play and Drew Holiday? You don't.
No.
I hate it, right? Because you got people in Detroit going to the game tonight. They might want to see Giannis. So from that, I understand. But if you're looking at it from a team perspective, you're Milwaukee, you want to win a championship. Why are you even going to put Giannis on the court tonight? It makes no sense. Now, on the other side, I'm assuming he's really banged up. I do not want to get on Joel Embiid. But everyone has been looking forward to this game. We talked about it weeks ago. NBA TV, Philly, Denver tonight. Jokic, Embiid, MVP. And Embiid's not playing? I mean, come on, man. And he's got to be legitimately hurt. I can't see him wanting to sit here. We
No,
do get him.
I don't think he is legitimately hurt. I think he's tired. He's gassed. He needed a rest day.
But he's also had this calf issue that again.
But is it an issue? Because let me ask you something. He played the first half in that Charlotte matchup, and they were winning by 30, 40 points, it seemed like.
You mean the Bulls matchup?
The Bulls matchup, my bad.
Right.
They were winning by 30, 40 points for most of the game, it seemed like. I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's the way it seemed. I'm convinced that they're using the calf as an excuse, and it's fake, and that he just
if that's the case, why would you play him on a back-to-back against the Suns and not rest him there and say, all right, we're going to play him against Denver? Because you can't tell me, well, the Suns are an Eastern Conference team. No, they're the West. So why would you play him on a back-to-back and not sit him one of the games to have him ready for the Denver game?
That's a good question. I don't know. I really do not know at this point. I mean, you bring up a great point. To me, didn't seem hurt from that Bulls game. And now he did say, there was a comment that I saw pass through Twitter earlier. He did say rest. So it makes me wonder if he was due a rest game, and this happens to be it. Now, if you're the organization, what? Because they think that he's leading the MVP charge, and at this point, if let's say Jokic outperforms him, that'll completely tear him down.
It can't come down to one game. I mean, it just can't. Like, we went through this last year when they played each other late in the year.
We did.
I mean, you cannot really, if you have a vote, you can't
put out that game too.
What?
I thought someone sat that game. No,
I don't recall. But you can't base it on one game, man.
I know. Come on. You just said it. This game has been marked. Any NBA fan that has this game.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I don't have as much motivation to watch this game now.
No, of course not.
I just don't. I mean, dude, like, I don't get it, man. Why did he play Saturday then? If it was an issue, like, sit him out. He gets 2 days to rest. Play Denver. They don't play on Wednesday.
I think that if you're the Sixers, they think, and I'm sure Embiid thinks this, that that if the season ended today, he's winning the MVP, and that they can only go down from there.
I don't think so. I mean, Embiid's been playing great. If he goes out there and scores 32 and Jokic has a triple-double, but they lose, that's real. You think that the market's going to shift that much? I don't see that.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, you and I talked about this a few weeks ago. It shouldn't all come down to one game.
It shouldn't. I mean, look, I hope Jokic wins it since I took him in the FSGA futures. I mean, it was the only reason we did it is he was like plus 275. It's like he still has a shot to win.
I'm already down one prop in that.
Texas, right?
Yeah.
Good.
I thought they were the best team remaining in the tournament.
Nah, UConn, bro. I told you.
UConn is awesome. Okay, maybe instead of UConn, I thought that would have been an amazing matchup. Texas, a complete inside team. I thought they were going to be fine. And they looked fine for most of that game. And then they faded.
So right now, oh, wow, bro. I didn't know this. What do you think the odds are right now for MVP?
I'm going to go with Embiid at minus 150.
Minus 130.
Wow.
And Jokic plus 135.
It's gotten closer.
On DraftKings. Wow. I didn't know that.
See, that's why, man. This game would have determined it.
To me, you hurt yourself more sitting out.
See, or is it you have more people questioning what would have happened rather than him potentially going out of there?
I think it hurts him sitting out. If Jokic goes out there tonight and puts up a triple-double and Denver wins, I think these odds, you might see Jokic as the favorite tomorrow.
I think you will see.
Yeah. So it's hurting Embiid. To me, if Embiid, look, the way Embiid is played, right? Embiid, if he goes out there tonight, he's not having a bad game. When have we seen a bad game from Embiid recently? We have not seen it. Is 28 points and 10 rebounds a bad game? Okay, for Embiid, I guess it is. But you're not going to be like, oh, he lost the MVP tonight. He had 28 and 10.
Right.
He had 46 against Golden State. Throw the Chicago game out because he sat 37, 31, 38, 36, 34, 39, 39, 42, 31. I mean, he's not going to have a bad game. Like, he would have to shoot 4 of 20. We don't see that from Embiid. So, to me, even if they lost, if he goes out there tonight and had 32 and 12, they lost, Jokic had a triple-double, I don't think that crushes Embiid unless he disappears down the stretch and Jokic steps up. But I just think this hurts him sitting tonight. And if they're doing this calculated, they're stupid.
I'm hoping that you're right, and I'm hoping that he's actually hurt, and this isn't just a ploy thinking to lose leverage.
Please clip that. He said, "I hope he's actually hurt." We need
no,
that
but you know what I'm saying. Look at you ruining a great conversation.
It's been done to me before.
I know. It hasn't been done for you. Not on this network. In a radio galaxy far away.
On a previous network.
In a radio galaxy far away.
Do you know the clips that I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's.
But you know what I meant in terms of context here. I don't actually hope he's hurt, but I'm hoping for this argument's sake, because we've been looking forward to this damn game for a month. It's a letdown that he's not playing tonight.
It's a huge letdown, man. I mean, the NBA can't be happy about it. NBA TV can't be happy about it. And looking at their schedule, they have one back-to-back left. I mean, we know he's not going to play. It's Thursday the 6th, home to Miami, and then the 7th at
Even
Atlanta.
James Harden is playing tonight.
Right. I mean, well, and he sat out what is it, 3 in a row?
Yeah.
But he didn't look good though before that.
No,
he did not look good. I think he's legitimately hurt, or he's already started his transition to Houston.
You know what, dude? You might be right about that. I
mean, we keep hearing about that,
dude. I think it's going to happen. And the big question is, are they going to try to do a sign and trade? Or is he just going to sign there outright? But what does that do to you? You just take Jalen Green and throw him to the side. You take Kevin Porter, you throw him to the side.
What is Harden? I don't get Harden. Why does he want to leave? You're with Embiid. Why do you want to leave?
He has to be the guy. I'm telling you.
So then why do you go? I mean, why do you go?
He wants to leave this situation in Philly. It proves to me that he needs to be the guy. When he was in Houston last time, Chris Paul was the guy. And he had major problems with him.
I mean, there were times he was the guy in Brooklyn when Durant and Kyrie were out. So what? Those guys came back and he's like, I want out.
Exactly.
And then you go to Philly?
I don't know what happened there. I don't know.
I mean, he just probably likes the nightlife in Houston, strip clubs and everything.
I mean,
but he's 6 for 29 from the field his last 2 games. I think he was banged up.
Yeah. Well,
he didn't look right. And he played 47 minutes in that double overtime game.
I mean, he's going to play tonight. By the way, I got some plays for you from the value side of things for DFS for NBA. Also got some bets as well that I have made. I almost gave yesterday's bets. That wouldn't have been bad. See, that's the problem when you use the same piece of paper for 3 different days. You almost read bets from a previous day. But you can join us for more great shows and events on Bettor Sports Network. Check out the program schedule on the Bettor Sports Network app and at bettorsports.com. 7 a.m. Eastern, Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show. Simon, John, Luke, and Coop. Andrew Cooper, 10 a.m. Eastern, Moose and Keith, Mark Malusis, Keith Irizarry, noon Eastern, Lunch Money with Kyle Elfrink and Ray Flowers. I normally join the guys every Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. That show's at noon Eastern. Then a replay of Moose and Keith at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're at 5 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. You got Bettor Cast on the Bettor Sports Network app. The Houston Roughnecks against the DC Defenders. Play our live question and answer contest or talk sports on Monday Night Rants with Ed Rouse. Airs on bettorsports.com. He's Ronas. I'm Fensty. Let's get to some NBA plays for the night. Big 8-game slate. I got some bet skis and some value plays for DFS as well on the playbook here on BSN.
Stay tuned for sports. Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Bettor Sports Network. Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
The word genius is there. Bob Glover, it describes him. Bob, so when's the last time that Twitter defeated you? Because I've been defeated by Twitter today.
I'll tell you how Twitter defeated me one time. I had the mistaken impression that the year that Troy Polamalu won the Defensive Player of the Year, it looked like it was going to go to Clay Matthews Jr., and I tweeted it. And there was a guy on the media bus. He was like, oh, yeah, he's got it, a guy I trust. I won't tell you who it was, but his initials are Mike Garafalo. So I went with it. Got a DM from Rich Eisen, NFL Network. He goes, you sure about that? I go, oh, man. Oh, I just got this wave. Because, like, accuracy to me is really important.
Yeah.
So I'm literally on the media bus. We're just getting back from media day. We are slipping and sliding in Dallas. It's snowing. I get off the bus. I open my laptop. I'm hunched over. And I just, like, literally people are passing me. Bob, what's wrong? And it was Polamalu. And Adam Schefter had retweeted me. Trey Wingo had retweeted me. I'm like, oh, I'm dead.
So when it's Palomalu, then how do you handle that? Like, what was the subsequent tweet
I think
afterwards?
I got some bad Twitter info. I didn't put Garofalo's name on there. I had to
10 years later, you can out him. I like that. Yeah.
He wouldn't mind that. He knows the stories.
Yeah.
He actually said to me, "Hey, Bob, I think you might have jumped the gun on that." I was like, "Oh, crap." There we go.
Campus to Canton on the Better Sports Network.
Would Dion bench Shador?
I don't think he would.
Like, how bad would it have to be? Because we've seen horrendous quarterback play from this Colorado team for the last, 5 years? JT Shroud, Brandon Lewis, just terrible quarterback play. Like, they were 131st, which is dead last in pass EPA per play. Obviously, it will be better, but how bad does it have to be for him to bench his own son? Like, I'm not sure he will ever either, like, especially with the attitude that he came in with.
If they don't get Rashada, who do they bench him for this year anyway? I don't know that there's another answer on that roster that you go to. They don't really have a guy behind him. So I don't even know if we would know the answer to that until the next year, assuming that, he doesn't declare for the draft, he returns, they bring somebody else that's competent and behind him.
If they're going to do this the Lincoln Riley way, next year would be the class to bring somebody in. Shador Sanders is going to be a third-year player. So he's going to play 2023. I don't think he's declaring for the 2024 NFL draft. So he's going to play in 2024 and then declare for the 2025 NFL draft. And let's remember this. He hasn't had a full recruiting cycle at Colorado. He will have that next recruiting cycle. So maybe he could get one of these class of 2024 quarterbacks there to come to Colorado.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network.
It's 2 games in a row we came out in the third quarter and just turned it on, and you like to see us respond the way that we need to get a win, but it's about trying to find some way to be consistent, a little closer to 48 minutes than what we've done. And yes, the league is great. The league has gotten to a point where offenses are outrageous and people can score at the drop of a dime, but our goals are big, and the way that we're playing at times is going to be hard to sustain in the playoffs if we can't find some level of consistency, especially defensively.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Fensty and Ronis back with you here on Better Sports Network. Want to remind everybody before we get to some plays that coming up right after us at 7 Eastern, it's the XFL tonight on Bettercast. Watch the Houston Roughnecks versus the DC Defenders and compete in our real-time Q&A contest on the Better Sports Network app. Watch, play, and win prizes by answering predictive questions about the games while having fun chatting with our community in real time. Join us for Bettercast on the Better Sports Network app. Tonight, starting at 7 Eastern, you can win a $100 gift card on the bettersports.com collectibles shop to purchase authentic hand-signed items from your favorite athletes. Monday Night Rants will air on bettersports.com. Looking at some of the injuries heading into tonight's game, here's what we've got for you. We've got the Bucks and the Pistons getting set to tip off at 7:10 p.m. Eastern. No Giannis, no Holiday. And then on the other side, no Bogdanovich, Burks, Diallo, Stewart, and Rodney McGruder is going to be out as well. Mavs and the Pacers, originally Luka Doncic was supposed to be out for this game, but the league rescinded that technical, which would have had him suspended for the night. He will play. Maxi Kleba will not. He'll be out. And then for the Pacers, a lot of their meaningful players will be out. Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, Chris Duarte are all out. Jalen Brunson is going to be out for the New York Knicks. Jayshawn Tate out for the Rockets. Still no Kevin Durant, but we should see him return to action on Wednesday. Clarkson, Sexton, and Gay are out for the Utah Jazz. We're still waiting on Lauri Markkanen, who is a game-time decision. For the Sixers and the Nuggets matchup, no Joel Embiid. James Harden will play. House will play as well. Michael Porter, questionable going into this one. The Timberwolves and the Kings, you just heard in the rejoin, Coach Brown, who sure as hell deserves Coach of the Year. Light the beam on that. The big question is, how will this team do in a playoff series, especially if they face a more defensive-minded team? Can they be stopped here? Well, for tonight, we won't have Karl Anthony Towns. Still waiting to see. I hadn't seen any update on Anthony Edwards. whether or not he was going to play. Last I saw.
Well, that's why we don't have Minnesota props right now. I thought it was because Torian Prince was downgraded to questionable. I want to bet a Rudy Gobert double-double.
Well, we don't. Well, at least Towns is going to be out. We still don't know about Edwards. We still also, by the way, Fox was at shoot-around. We don't know if he's going to play.
I thought I saw earlier that he was good to go tonight.
All right. I mean, if he's at shoot-around, then that's a good sign. It's very
right.
Good.
He's available to play.
Okay, good. I mean,
what do you think about this boost tonight on DraftKings?
What is it?
Nikola Jokic 20 points or more. I think that's happening.
Yes.
Chris Paul 10 assists or more. Domantas Sabonis 10 rebounds or more. Plus 200.
I mean, let's go through the other two legs here. So, Chris Paul's taking on the Jazz contingent featuring Chris Dunn and a bunch of other nobodies. I'm fine with that.
I think that's the one that worries me, though, right?
Sure.
I mean,
the 10 rebounds, it'll be disappointing if Sabonis doesn't get the 10 rebounds.
Right.
Even their defense is so lousy.
Yeah. I mean, he's gotten there in the last 10 games. He's failed 3 times, but they were 8, 9, and 9.
Right.
So, but I guess it's the Chris Paul 10 assists that is the one. I mean, the Suns need this game though, man. So,
they do.
I mean, these teams in the West, like they can't.
Everyone's clubbed together. Seeds 5 through 11 are separated by 2.5 games.
Yeah, the Suns are trying to hold on to that 4 seed. They obviously can't catch Sacramento now. They're 6 games behind. But they're trying to stave off the Clippers and the Warriors. I mean, it's pretty important to get that 4, to get that home court in the first round. So they have to kind of go all out here. I guess you would.
The winner of that, if it was them and the Clippers 4-5, the winner of that faces Denver in the second round. Imagine Denver's Suns. You think that would be a great series, or you think that if Durant's able to stay on the floor, all of a sudden Denver just fades away and disappears?
No, I think that would be a good series for sure. I mean, I kind of don't want to see that in round 2, but we'll have to see. There'll definitely be some interesting matchups in the first round in the West, no matter how this ends. But so I don't know. Are you playing that boost?
I'd play that boost.
Yeah, plus 200.
The Paul leg definitely is the one. I mean, anytime you have 10 assists on the board.
If Jokic scores 19, I'll never play this boost again.
There you go. So the boost
He's got to score 20. So are you betting it?
If I'm able to get it, yes. I've learned that there's some boost that you get that for some reason I can't get. So if I can get it, yes. There was
one. I don't know, man. We looked at 2 college basketball ones last week, and we knew it was going to hit, and it did.
Right.
Like I knew it. I'm like, yeah, one of these teams is losing. They both lost.
They did. We lost both 1 seeds.
Maybe we should stay away, right?
I mean, look, I'm confident in the Domantas Sabonis rebounds, the Jokic points. That to me seems easy, which means he's probably going to score 5 points tonight with no Embiid. But if you're
he'll sit out. He'll play the first quarter and sit out. They're like, Embiid's out. We'll sit him too.
Just disappointing.
Nah, Jokic is going to go off.
You realize the ticket value on those probably went up astronomically in the last month. People, I mean, out of any game, this is the game that you wanted to be at if you're an NBA fan. And now Joel Embiid's going to be out. You said it before, man. I feel bad for those fans, like in Detroit, for instance, that, I mean, you have to watch this really crappy Pistons team year after year after year. Okay, Giannis is coming, something very exciting, and then he just doesn't play. It is disappointing because
it is.
I'm gonna be in that situation one day when I take my daughter to her first basketball game and I shell out the crazy expensive price point for, let's just say, Wizards Lakers because I want her to see LeBron live and he decides to sit. It's suck.
I mean, look, I don't know what the NBA can do in these situations because, again, if you look at it from a Milwaukee perspective, I completely understand what they're doing. You don't need Giannis out there tonight. You don't want him to get hurt. I mean, look, he can get hurt anytime, but you don't need him tonight against Detroit. I mean,
but for the fans, can you just limit his minutes? Okay, so he plays 10 minutes, at least he's out there.
They're not thinking like that. It's a business. They're trying to win a championship. They're looking long term, and they're like, hey, what do we have to do to preserve the health of our best player? I mean, look, the game. Look, I think if they were playing a more competitive team tonight, he'd play. They're only a game and a half up on Boston for the top seed. and the best record in the NBA. You want home court if you can get it. Maybe it doesn't mean as much to them than some other teams, but I think you want it if you can get it. And they're coming off a loss against Denver. They got Indiana Wednesday. I don't think they'll sit them 2 games in a row. No, you know what? Now, maybe he does. They play home to Boston on Thursday on TNT. That is a big game.
So you think they sit him for the Wednesday game before?
I don't know if they do. Detroit and Indiana to me are similar right now.
They are. They're both garbage.
Wouldn't you sit him Wednesday and let him play tonight instead?
Yes. I mean, what are they going to think? We don't want Boston to see what we're all about, so let's not play.
He'll play versus Boston.
They got to use that game as a measuring stick.
They want to lock up. They want to, further their position on the 1 seed.
But they also have to use it in case they do meet up in the conference finals, which, in my opinion, should be happening still. Then they're going to want to measure up to see how they match up against them.
They have Boston Thursday, Philly Sunday. So I think he'll play both those games. The Boston game is on TNT. That's a good game on Thursday night. So I think everyone plays there. But I wonder if they sit him on Wednesday too.
That would be interesting. I hope not. I need him in my dynasty.
I'm just trying to think from their perspective.
No, you're right. You're right.
But then, if you are going to sit him, wouldn't you play him tonight against Detroit? No, okay. We'll get up big. He'll play the first half.
Can't they do that on Wednesday? Can't they plan to play him 15, 20 minutes, and then that's it?
I just don't get that. If you're going to sit him one game, it would have been Wednesday against Indiana. Why would you sit him tonight? Unless they plan to sit him tonight and Wednesday.
It is entirely possible. It is. You know what? No, because guess what? I mean, they're going to have to sit Chris Middleton.
Middleton will sit probably Wednesday. Yeah, he'll sit Wednesday.
So
didn't he sit? When did he sit? Sunday?
He sits back to backs.
No, didn't he sit a game over the weekend? No.
I
they had a back to back. He sat yesterday. I mean Saturday against Denver, right?
He's sitting back to backs for the rest of the way here the last 2 weeks. Couple more props that I'm in on tonight, Rome. Let me know what you think of this. I hit this one before, and the number's still the same. What do you think of Shaedon Sharpe over 26.5 points rebounds? He's been grabbing you about 4 to 5 boards. He's been scoring in the 20s.
I was looking for his props earlier in the day. They weren't out. I mean, he's the guy right now. 19, 20, 13 shots the last 3 games. So what did you say it's at?
26.5. I bet the over on it.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, his points are 21.5.
Right. Yeah. And he's been grabbing rebounds too. And you know he's going to get a lot of playing time.
And they're sitting everyone, man.
Yeah, they are. And that's why I also bet the over on this prop tonight, Roan. I'm actually pretty confident on this one. Drew Eubanks, over 17.5 points and rebounds.
How many Portland props do you want to bet, bro?
Just those 2.
Those 2?
I think Eubanks, I think Jonas Valanciunas is a very beatable matchup. I think that we're not going to see Trendon Watford. It would be the most shocking thing in the world. A guy who hurts his ankle leaves the game. Last night playing, he's doubtful. He's not playing tonight. They have to go with Eubanks. Eubanks played 33 minutes. There's no way, unless he's in a crazy amount of foul trouble, there's no way Eubanks doesn't hit 30 minutes. I think that he should hit the over on this.
What was the line?
17.5.
I feel better about Sharpe, even though it's higher.
I like both.
Well, they got Sharpe, Little, Thibault, Eubanks. 11.5 point spread. Because,
they don't have anybody else to turn to.
I know. Ingram and Valanciunas props would be interesting, but you got to worry about the blowout here.
I do, but I'll say this. I did bet I bet a $5 bet on the over 27.5 for Valanciunas, like I said in the first play.
I kind of like his rebounds 11.5 because he faced Portland recently on the 12th, played 21 minutes and still had 12 rebounds. And we've seen his minutes have gone up. He's at least 28 minutes in 5 straight games and at least 30 minutes in 4 of the last 5. So he could get over that rebound prop without playing a significant amount of minutes. But the blowout is real.
I got another one for you, and this is one I played.
I'm doing the Sharpe because I was looking earlier in the day.
I'm
going to do that.
This shot volume is going to be there the rest of the way. All of a sudden, you're going to see this guy in the next 9 days. You're going to see him move up the Rookie of the Year odds.
Nah.
That's what you're going to see. He's not going to beat Paolo at this point, but you'll start to see him get into the mix a little bit more because, like you're saying, and it's true, He's going to take the most shots. He's going to be the guy. I bet this yesterday, but then unfortunately, Nikola Vucevic decided to get himself thrown out of the game. So I'm going back to it tonight in a great matchup, an even better matchup, over 27.5 points rebounds for Vooch tonight.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a much better matchup than that.
No, yeah, it is a really good matchup, and he's been playing well lately. So
unless he gets ejected again like a stupid idiot, he's going over this tonight.
Yeah, Clippers have not been good.
Dude, and you told me, and I'm glad you told me the other day why they were as juicy as they were when it came to their odds before the season to win a title. I just didn't see it, and I didn't know why people were betting on it. And then you explained it to me from the book side of it, and it made a little bit more sense. Final prop I have, Rome, that I looked at as well, Marvin Bagley. Now, let me just explain what my history with betting Marvin Bagley props are this year. I'm 0-4, but over the last 2 games, he's gone over this prop for the PRs 22.5. I mean, tonight, as long as Bogdanovich is out, and he wasn't out the last time I bet this prop, he's out for this game along with a bunch of other Pistons. I'm thinking tonight he's going over this. I know, and look, no Giannis on the other side as well, which is huge for this matchup.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Detroit scares me, man.
I mean, I see him playing 30 again. We've seen him play 30 the last few games. I don't see, again, another situation how he doesn't play 30. Bogdanovich is in. I don't go near this prop. Bogdanovich is out. I do.
What about Javon Carter, PRAs?
He's actually, by the way, just to mention, he's in my value video for DFS on fantasyalarm.com. So, yes, I'm thinking tonight, he's going to be playing 20 to 25.
He's starting.
Yes, and I'm expecting him to play about 25 in that matchup.
His PRAs are 19.5. He's gone over that. 5 of the last 5 games without Giannis and Holiday. And
you can look this up, but I believe he's now taken at least 9 shots in 3 straight games.
Yeah,
so that's also something encouraging.
I know I mentioned Tobias before, but Tyrese Maxey as well should look at.
Right.
He's going to take a ton of shots tonight, and especially if Harden is not shooting well or still bothered. I mean, it's going to be a ton of Maxey tonight.
No, that's true. A lot of people think when it comes to Maxey that Harden has to be out for him to produce, but it's Embiid. It's actually Embiid. When Embiid's out,
I mean, it's not a bad one of those same game parlays where you do Maxey and Tobias, 3 props. Maybe
no, it's not bad. You know why? Because the Sixers have 4 players that shoot the ball, and that's it. Those 2, Melton and it's pretty much those 2 and Melton and Harris. That's about it.
Yeah, the Sixers Nuggets is a pretty good same game parlay tonight.
Yes, and it should have been the game of the year, but Joel Embiid decides that he's going to sit. I swear, man, I'm not fully convinced that he's actually hurt here. I think they're slow playing him a little bit. That's just me, though, because I was very much we even when we were in New York, sitting in the same hotel room, we were talking about this game, and now we don't get to enjoy it. But what you get to enjoy, Bettorcast, XFL style. You also get to enjoy Ed Rouse on bettersports.com for Monday Night Rants. Ed, I expect you to be ranting about this. No Joel Embiid MVP on the line. No Embiid versus Jokic. That stinks. You know who doesn't stink? Our producers, AB, Adam Bernard, The Resource. Also, Tony Rivers, Anthony Rivera, Rodas, Fedstein, Playbook, closing. We out.